Our second question is, if the mill levy does not pass, then what?
Mm-hmm.
And then our third question will be is, why do you care and want to serve on this board? So let's go to the first question for a minute. What is it that you bring to the table to serve on the Fire Protection Board?
I think one of the most important aspects that I bring is experience in terms of working with boards, working in organizations. My background is all healthcare. I'm a clinician, I'm a registered respiratory therapist. I've worked in emergency medical services, I've worked in hospitals, and then rose through the ranks to be the chief executive officer. For the last 25 years, I've been the chief executive officer of small rural hospitals. Ended up right here in Estes Park. So I've worked with a lot of governing boards, and the hospital is a district, and worked with a district, a publicly elected board. I've worked with boards that are appointed, county commissioner appointed, and others that are private nonprofit sort of things. So governance in terms of functioning with an organization like the fire district is extremely important. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to the board was a sense of what good governance looks like. I'm not there to micromanage the organization. That is absolutely not what we need to do. My background is not fire service, so I'm not going to help them put out a fire. I'm not going to decide, what color the truck should be. I'm going to be there to make sure that the public's interests are represented, and that I'm also going to be supporting the organization to meet and exceed its goals for the future. A lot of my background has also been strategic planning and marketing. And so working with the organization over the last 3 years, actually about the last year and a half, I was kind of the board representative on the strategic planning committee. And so helping the organization visualize where it needs to go and what it wants to become, and how do we support the services and the mission of the district in this community. And along with that is understanding, well, what does the community think and what do they want? And so we work to do a community survey. We work to do a survey of our volunteers. We solicited a lot of input and a lot of different perspectives on what this district needs to be and what it needs to be for the future. And so I think that has been very helpful. I also, because of my education, my experience, have a lot of financial experience background, and that is helpful, especially in a district situation, and to understand how a special district operates, what are the legal ramifications, all of that sort of thing. So I didn't want to completely retire and do nothing. I have to do something. And I thought, this is the perfect opportunity. I've worked with a lot of emergency services, including our ambulance service local. And so this is an opportunity to continue to work with the emergency services providers in the community.
A second question then is, if not the mill levy, then what? We currently will have before voters the opportunity to weigh in on whether or not to increase the current mill levy.
Right.
And if we do increase it, it will increase the fire department's budget by 50% of what it currently is. If we don't do this, then what?
Well, one of the things that we did in terms of exploring our options and looking at the future, I mean, obviously one of the things you do is you kind of like, okay, in a perfect world, what would we need? What would we do? And so we explored visions of the future. Oftentimes those visions are not something you can afford, so we end up kind of paring those back. So for example, we looked at, well, how would you finance some of the options that we're playing forward? Do you do a sales tax increase? And we went to the town and talked to them significantly about, is that an option? Can we increase the amount of sales tax so that the visitors to Estes Park contribute also to the support of the fire department? Right now, they contribute, the sales tax amounts to more than 50% of the operating budget, the revenues. So it's a very significant part of how we fund this emergency service going forward. I mean, we want to make sure that the visitors are paying their fair share as well. We also looked at doing a bond issue. That was part of the community survey. We looked at, well, what level of mill levy support could we possibly afford? And initially in the survey, we put out there, well, what if there was a 4 mil increase, and what level of support would there be in the community? And so what we found out was, you pare these things down to what you think is going to be the most appropriate ask of the community. So we couldn't make progress on the sales tax. It's kind of out of our league in terms of being able to make changes. We could pursue a bond issue, but the voters really, in the survey, the voters were not very supportive of a bond issue, a long-term indebtedness. And we have done an excellent job of avoiding long-term debt as well. And so it came back to the mill levy, and you just kind of say, well, then what level of mill support could we possibly ask and maybe find enough support to have it pass? And so we looked at that, we analyzed it, we decided to try the ask for the 3 mil, to go to 4.9 mils for supporting the fire department. And we looked at other mill levies too. I mean, the average mill levy support for a fire district in the state of Colorado is 9 mils. So I thought, well, this is not an enormous ask, but it's still very conservative. And we understand, I pay taxes in this community too, and I'm on a fixed income as well. So, I know that the impact that'll have on people. But when we analyzed that, we looked at it, we said, well, that level of increase would add, in my house, I looked it up, it'll add about $13 a month. And now that I've been involved with the fire district for 3 years, I have a much better understanding of what the needs are in the community, what the level of services and support they provide. And for me, that is not an outrageous ask. I think it's something that I would absolutely support and invest in our local fire department. We have a tremendous amount of support for our volunteers, and the equipment is in excellent condition, and so that's what we're going to do. If the voters say, to get around your question, if the voters say that they don't want to see that level of mill increase, then we kind of have to go back to the drawing board again. Is there a level of support that would be acceptable to the majority of the voters, and is that a smaller number? And what would that do to the budget and the plans that we have going forward? Is there not still an opportunity to work closer with the town and to see if there are other options that we could work with the town to help make that, increase those revenues that support the district? We just have to explore other options and see what we can do.
Okay. Why is this the issue of community service that you want to do? Why do you care?
Why do I care? I used to tell people, well, I was born in a hospital and I'm still there. I'm not still there right now, but I have a deep-seated vision and mission to make a difference in this world. And I think anybody that's in these kind of service positions, whether it's a hospital, an ambulance service, a fire district, a police, we're celebrating our dispatchers this week. All of those people have this deep-seated personal mission to make a difference, and make a difference in the lives of the people that they love and know, our friends and our neighbors. And so the concept of just kind of standing back and being a bystander was just appalling to me. I needed something to keep feeding that mission, some purpose and drive that would help make me feel like I'm making a difference in this community and in the lives of the people that we serve. And so this is the way I'm going to do it. And hopefully the voters will ask me to continue doing it, and if not, I'll find another way to make a difference in the lives of the people we serve too. Yeah.